Elon Musk is gutting the consumer watchdog that would oversee his venture with X and Visa. Is the CFPB an unnecessary layer of red tape, or does it really add value? Hello, my name is Paul Carroll. I'm the CEO and founder of Avion Wealth, an elite wealth management firm based here in Texas. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau was created in 2010 under the Dodd-Frank law after what were frankly egregious behaviors by many financial actors, including some as big as Wells Fargo. Google what Wells Fargo did. It's amazing that they're even allowed to be in business today. People lost their homes, they lost their savings, and there was little or no recourse outside of the courts, which for the average middle-class American, what are you going to do? You're going to sue Wells Fargo? Since 2010, the consumer watchdog has recovered over $21 billion for fraudulent financial practices. This is a bit of a big picture issue. We're discussing here, where does executive authority start and end? And should it include independent watchdogs that are, among other things, protecting the public from the executive as well as from individual organizations? Now, I'm actually sympathetic. There is a countervailing argument that is a problem throughout the Western world, and that is the regulatory overhead is causing more economic harm in aggregate than the individual benefits that occur as a result of that red tape. And it's a difficult problem. I mean, every single would-be victim that's protected is better off with these watchdogs. However, if the overall weight of the burden of regulation means there is less wealth in aggregate than the savings from the crime, so to speak, you can see this gets very complicated very quick. And unfortunately, very little of the discussion goes here because we've got the other story, and that is, all right, I get the red tape argument, but is this about red tape, or is this about one of the richest men on the planet making sure that his investments are taken care of? Frankly, this is the kind of conflict of interest that, had it happened 10, 20, 30 years ago, would have created an enormous stink, and it's surprising it doesn't today. So what is the likely impact if they succeed? There's no doubt that unchecked financial fraud by established players against a largely naive public will return. We know. I mean, fraud is like water. It finds its way into all the nooks and crannies of every economy. There's also a concern that increased executive authority could backfire on those who so much want it, because this increased authority will be inherited by the next Democratic or other administration that may not be aligned with the same interests. This is something that, this was the point of the checks and balances in the original Constitution, so that no one team could get away with murder, because if one team can, so can the other. And you could even argue that the groundwork for this increased executive authority came from Biden, came from Trump, came from Bush. It's been cumulative over the last few decades. In my opinion, in this case, the juice is not worth the squeeze. This CFPB has done an enormous amount of good in terms of protecting the public from fraud. Having said that, the overarching issue of too much regulation, too much red tape is something I am extremely sympathetic with regards to the benefit of the economy. The U.S. economy is not as bad shape as many European economies. If we want an example of regulation run amok and stagnation as a result, just go look across the Atlantic and you'll see how not to regulate an economy and a society. It's an increasingly complex topic, many more moving parts than meet the eye at first glance. I certainly don't have all the right answers. If this is of interest to you, please feel free to subscribe, forward, ask questions, reach out, let me know what you think. We wish you the best of investment success. Thank you.